he was about to really just blow the up.
Yeah, he was.
And then that happened.
Yeah, he was.
Lil Reese and Quando have been beefing pretty steady ever since Von died. But is there a specific reason as to why Reese has so many problems with Quando? I mean, the two of them are basically in a war on socials for a little bit, but nothing's really come of it. Let's start from the beginning and figure out what's up. Lil Reese has had a pretty long music career at this point. He's a Chicago rapper from the same crew as people like Lil Durk and Chief Keef. His real name's Tavares Lamont Taylor, and he was born back in 1993 on January 6th. Reese grew up on 64th and Normal, which is very close to O Block. Over time, people from his set, Lamron, started rocking with people from O Block. That's why the wording gets so confusing when we're talking about 300, 600, etc. Anyway, Reese was a giant part of the early Chicago drill scene. He did music with Chief Keef pretty often, even appearing on the breakout single Keef dropped I Don't Like. When the song dropped and changed the musical landscape, both Reese and Keef were catapulted into fame. Reese started rocking with GBE and continued to collaborate with Chief Keef, all the while putting out music of his own. He even put out a Gangsta Grillz mixtape with DJ Drama. Eventually, Reese even managed to sign with Def Jam. And his second major mixtape came out in 2013, calling it Super Savage. The mixtape featured people like Lil Durk, Fredo Santana, Waka Flocka Flame, and Wale. Lil Reese has also been involved in a variety of cases throughout the course of his life. Although none of them are all that crazy. He had some probation violations, got picked up for burglary in 2010 before he blew up, apparently stole a car back in 2013, although the charges were later dropped. In 2019, Lil Reese was targeted in a shooting. Fortunately, he made it out of the scrape okay, but for a minute there, people were scared for him. See, Reese isn't really known for being a major gangster or anything. A lot of people speculate that he doesn't have any bodies. That being said, he's a major target because of his high profile and as one of the bigger members of the Chicago PD crew. According to the news that came out at the time, Reese was involved in a chase deep in the south side of Chicago around 167 Pulaski. Over the course of the chase, about 12 shots rang out. The driver got out of the car and eventually made his way up to the front of Reese's car, taking a few more shots. Police reports say that the car of the man responsible for the attack was in a white or silver Chevy Malibu with a Wisconsin plate. No one ever been able to put on trial for that incident. Lil Reese was taken to a nearby hospital in critical condition with a wound to his neck. After some time, he was able to make a full recovery. Eventually, he was transferred to another hospital where he was able to relax and get his strength back during treatment. That wasn't the first scuffle like that Reese wouldn't make it through though. In 2021, Reese was involved in yet another altercation, ending up in the hospital again. The whole thing started after a disagreement over a Dodge Durango that had apparently been stolen. 3 people ended up with wounds. Luckily, the other was taken to the hospital in critical condition. The full story isn't actually known, and there haven't really been any arrests made in connection to this crime, but what's clear is that the carjacking took place. Reese and 2 of his homies are thought to be involved, although everyone at the scene denied any involvement with what happened. The Durango that Reese and his homies had allegedly tried to jack was found near the scene of the incident, riddled with holes. Reese was grazed in the eye, but managed to make it out of the whole thing with both his life and his eyesight. So while Lil Reese doesn't really have a history of being hit for his gang, you already know that he still rides for his dudes. You aren't about to get a reputation the way Reese has if you aren't about what you do. DJ Academics has called him the Grim Reaper of Chirac, but a lot of people agree that the whole notion of Reese being some bloodthirsty monster is overblown. We do have to question that with some of the remarks he made about Quando Rondo though. Whenever he or his dudes are disrespected, he doesn't back down. It's exactly what happened when Reese caught word of King Von's death. Durk didn't do much talking because that's usually the way he handles these kinds of things. Reese, on the other hand, made it known that he had nothing but disrespect for Quando. He also picked on Quando for apparently blocking him on Instagram, if reports are to be believed. He posted a screenshot shortly after everything went down, showing Quando's page as if he didn't make any posts yet. He also posted a caption with it that said, "Scary bitch-ass little girl." Reese also took to Twitter to take some shots saying, "I ain't gonna lie, when I catch Quando Rondo again, I wanna see what all that tough about. Beat the out of the little boy, he too little." Quando did end up responding kinda indirectly, talking on live and saying, "That boy ain't gonna do nothing with me." For a while, there was a lot of rumors going around about how Quando was doing his best to squash the beef, getting into people's DMs to try to wiggle his way out of a hot seat. Quando claimed that all of that was capped to try to make him look soft, and to this day, tensions have only risen. Quando said, "Don't believe no internet shit. I ain't DM nobody, and I don't have Facebook or Snapchat." That being said, it seems like most of the heat is on NBA Youngboy now, so Quando might be more or less safe. That might be a tactical move by Youngboy in the first place. People had a lot to say on the comments Reese made on Twitter. One user said, made a call saying, "These guys need to grow up and start acting like men. Stop perpetuating this cycle of black men murder." together over nothing. Another fan pointed out how crazy that whole time was back toward the end of 2021 with 6ix9ine out on the streets and Lil Reese shot. That rat living good, meanwhile Quando on the run and Lil Reese getting shot. There's really no rules to shit. Reese also did his first ever interview with Vlad TV recently and spoke just a little bit on Von's death. Of course, Von and Reese were always close considering they grew up near each other and they were running the same crews. He basically said he didn't believe it when he heard it until he jumped on the internet. He also said that Von's pretty much the next in line to be the biggest gangster rapper in the game, and that was taken from him right before what could have been his prime. They also get into how reminiscent of Tupac's death the whole thing was. He was a rapper at the top of his game. There really wasn't any reason for the whole thing to have happened. It was basically just a fist fight that escalated and turned into something it never should have.
Quando, I think, went back and forth for a little while after that.
Y'all f***ing.
The worst part about all this is that it was basically just normal rap beef that got way out of hand. Could have been easily taken care of without the loss of Von, without all the things that happened afterward. Like, it just didn't have to be this way. And now it turned into basically like a whole industry-wide beef. People on YouTube had some things to say about the interview. One fan said, Lil Reese seen a lot of death and been to a lot of funerals. Growing up, I've probably been to over 20 funerals or more. That shit does something to you. These couple of funerals I went to, I just felt numb, empty, to the point the emotions you would feel someone dies, it's gone. RIP to all kings and queens. Another user said the eyes are our windows to the soul and you can see every bit of what this man has been through resting upon his blank face. All of what he has experienced has made him numb. It doesn't hurt anymore because it's so common, which is why it's hard for him to feel the hurt of losing someone so close, but he obviously understands that this is what you sign up for when you commit to the streets. That's why he scoffed up at the question of being sad. He's right, to be honest. You can definitely tell the guy's been through a lot. You could see it in his face. What do y'all think about all this though? Is Quando in the right to a degree for standing on his business, or did he mess up massively when he and Lil Tim overreacted to a bad situation? Is Lil Reese right to be angry? Let us know what you think down below in the comments. Don't forget to keep it RIZZLE, and if you like this story, make sure you go on ahead and peep this next one.